So, 10 more treasures excavated from my collection. Let's get into it. So the first video I did looking at items in my collection was rather popular, so I thought I'd inflict it upon you again. If you're new to this channel, please do click like, subscribe, check that notification bell, and do check the links below this video for ways you can support the sterling work that a classic album review is always much appreciated. Become a Patreon, why not? There's a fine body of work on there now. We're forming a real classic rock community. Anyway, enough of this flim-flam. Let's get into it. So number 10 is an item by the mighty Status Quo. Now, I brought a program, actually. I used to do that back in the day before they used to cost an arm and a leg. This was the Heavy Traffic Tour, which such nice memories of this gig, and it's such a great program, lots of pictures and text as well. And I think Heavy Traffic was actually quite a good later Status Quo album, and there's not many of them, but that was a pretty good album, I think. The reason I want to choose this item is I still kept my ticket for the gig, and even the bag, the merchandise bag, which they kindly let me take. So it's all nice part of the collection. But more important than that is Francis Rossi and Rick Parfitt would turn up at 2 p.m. at a gig for sound checks. And so we knew this, and I was waiting for them, and I managed to get this Dreaming 7-inch single signed by Rick Parfitt and Francis Rossi. They actually arrived 10 minutes late, about 10 past 2, and Francis Rossi said, "Heavy Traffic." What a wag, eh? Number 9 is Paul McCartney, Moscow Red Square. I was living and working in Russia at the time, and I got to see McCartney play on Red Square, but it was quite interesting. I got this paper which was laid on the chair. Every chair had one of these on there, which I which I managed to keep. And this is an advert I tore out of a Russian magazine. It says, "Paul McCartney back in the world, 2003, 24th of May, Krasnaya Ploshad," which is Red Square. So tore that out of a Russian magazine. And this is a paper which I purchased the very next day, Komsomolskaya Pravda, about McCartney's gig there. McCartney, Totisho, Zhuk. And what's interesting about that gig is fantastic show, but they played back in the USSR. As you can imagine, that went down a storm. And then Vladimir Putin attended the concert. He arrived late, so they had to play it again, or they chose to play it again for him anyway. There's my ticket for the actual gig itself. And here is, that's a program. I can't remember if I bought it at the gig or managed to get it later because I felt I should have it. But this is interesting. This is a carrier bag, so we're giving out for the merchandise at the time. Obviously, Paul McCartney, Red Square, 24th of May, 2003. Obviously, it's the Snova Russia cover. Snova Russia, once more in Russia. Back in the USSR, I guess. So that's an item that's I prize quite highly. And number 8 is Marillion's signed copy of Misplaced Childhood. This is a classic album. I can't remember if I've shown you this or not. This is obviously a classic Marillion album. Most of the signatures were obtained when I went to see them at the Cambridge Corn Exchange on the Fear Tour. Apart from Steve Rothery, who I missed, and I went to see them on the it was 2019, the Leicester weekend, so the 3-day event, and I met Steve Rothery there, and he kindly signed it for me. The Fish signature was obtained at the Stamford Corn Exchange when he was promoting his solo album at the time. I can't remember what it was called. It was the solo album, the one before the last album. So yeah, it's got I think that's Pete Travis, Mark Kelly, Ian Mosley, Fish, and Steve Rothery. So this is an item, mainly because it's such an iconic Marillion album, so it's such a lovely item in my collection. And number 7 is Pink Floyd program from 1987, the Momentary Lapse of Reason tour. It means a lot to me because it was the first time I got to see Floyd, a band I've been listening to all my life really. I finally got to see them. It's a pretty shit program, to be honest with you. It's mainly all sort of pictures and not much to it. So it's not what I would call a great programme. But what is great, more treasure than the programme itself, is the actual ticket, which I kept. I've got loads of great old used tickets. I'll have to do a video, used tickets. What an idea that is. But it was just wonderful seeing Pink Floyd. And that's a nice memory if ever there was one. Number 6 is Alice Cooper, Poison, 12-inch single, autographed by the man himself in gold pen. I only had this gold paint pen on me at the time. Anyway, the story goes is I went to see Alice Cooper on the Schools Out 97 tour. That's why he signed it. Barry Alice Cooper 97. You can see that. Went to see him at the Astoria Theatre. I went with a friend actually. We had a few beers in the pub opposite the... I don't think the Astoria Theatre is even there anymore. I think it's been pulled down. But we made our way over to the show. We kind of pushed our way to the front rather obnoxiously, I think. And we were quite big fellas really, so nobody argued with us. It's all standing. But to see Alice Cooper so close up to the on the stage, kneeling down there doing the Ballad of Dwight Fry. But after the gig, I took the stairs to see if I could get something signed. There was this side door, and I just noticed about 3 girls and a guy just took their chance and just rushed up the stairs. I sort of clung to their coattails. And we arrived at this room at the top of the Astoria Theatre. He was just there signing stuff for people, which was great. I don't know if we were supposed to go in. I'm surprised there wasn't security there, but yeah, he kindly signed my Poison 12-inch single. Number 5 is Blondie at the Newcastle City Hall, meeting Debbie Harry. I was a student at that time. I was in Newcastle about 1995, and all I had was a pad, A4 pad. And I handed, as she went in, she never spoke to anyone. She got off the tour bus. This was when Blondie were promoting, they just had that single Maria that had come out. Anyway, she went into the Newcastle City Hall stage door, which is at the side of the venue, and she just sat down. I could see her sitting down. The security, they wouldn't let us in, but I could see her sitting there, the stuff being passed to her and her signing. So I just passed this A4 pad, and she signed a page of it for me, which I've subsequently got a nice photograph of Debbie and had it framed. So that's the item itself. That's a lovely photograph. I really like that photograph. And there's the autograph to Barry, Debbie Harry. So this is an item I treasure. I mean, I love Blondie actually. I'd love to see them again. I have no idea what they're like live these days, but they were pretty good when I saw them. Number 4 is just a ticket, really. I don't have the programme anymore. It's I grew up listening to the Rolling Stones. Loved the Stones. I've told you all about the story of getting that Get Stoned, that compilation album, how much it meant to me. Well, I finally got to see them on the Bridges to Babylon tour, and it's this ticket and what it represents. It means an awful lot to me. So I just kept the ticket. I really wish I'd seen them on the tour before, which was the Voodoo Lounge tour. That set list on that was fantastic, but I just couldn't make that gig. I was living somewhere else, so to speak. But that was the first time I saw the Stones. I've seen them 3 times overall, and nice memory, even though it was a gig that was actually postponed for about a year due to tax reasons or something like that. But Rolling Stones, Bridges to Babylon, Wembley Stadium. That's the old Wembley Stadium as well. Being torn down now, of course. I saw Pink Floyd there. I saw Stones. Who else did I see there? I'm sure there was somebody else. I can't remember. Number 3 is Don McLean at the Reading Hexagon. I was a huge fan of Don McLean back in the day, and I managed to wait for him. Actually, I got the programme from the actual gig. There's another guy. It's quite a while ago. I don't suppose his voice is particularly holding up now. He must be well in his 80s, I guess. But I waited around prior to him arriving. There's my ticket, by the way. Don McLean at the Reading Hexagon. So you can see that. I waited around prior to the gig, and he showed up, and I managed to get. I only had a biro on me, but I got a flyer signed. I don't know if you can see that he signed it in biro there. Number 2 is meeting Peter Green. Peter Green and the Splinter Band played the Reading Alley Cat. And interesting show because he had Cozy Powell on drums. It was quite a tight band actually. And I just went backstage after the gig. and just went upstairs, and he just came out and he just signed autographs. All I had was it was actually you remember those envelopes you used to get your photographs given to you when you got them developed at Boots and things. I had one of those, so I turned it inside out, and he signed it to Barry from Peter Greenbaum. That's how he signed his signature. So it's a lovely item, really, a nice bit of classic rock history. I even got the ticket there as well, Reading Alley Cat. I don't like the photograph though. It's the only photograph I could find. I got it framed with that one. I want to get it framed with a much better photograph, because I've had this on my wall and people have said, why have you got a picture of John McCreary up there? And number 1 is Pink Floyd signed Dark Side of the Moon artwork. I knew a chap who was, he collected autographs. He'd been doing it all his life. He had some lovely stuff. It was his own personal collection. Even had a Mark Bolan signature. And he was choosing to sell all his stuff so he could emigrate. I think he was getting some good money for it. But this is an item that I purchased from him. He said it was he wrote a letter as to where he obtained the autographs. Now, I didn't see it signed. I didn't obtain it myself. But I believe it's real. I mean, if you look at the artwork, there's a smudge on the Gilmore signature. You can tell the Nick Mason signature, the ink is running out a bit. And you can tell there's different pressure applied when these things are handwritten. So it looks pucker to me, but anyway, it's a beautiful item, and I decided to get it framed, and I got a plaque made, Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon, 35th anniversary of the album, so it gives you some idea how long I've had this in my collection. But I have no idea what this is worth. It's signed by Gilmore, Nick Mason, Roger Waters and Richard Wright, and it's iconic artwork, of course, isn't it? So it's got to be worth a few quid, let's put it that way. I have no idea what it's worth, but it's got to be worth something substantial, I think. But there we are. That's probably one of the items I'm most proud of in my collection. So there you are. That's 10 more items from the old treasure trove. If you've enjoyed this video, please do share it far and wide. Click like, subscribe, check the notification. I think we've said all that. Become a Patreon. Link below this video. Done that as well. So I'll just leave you with my closing salvo, which is hope you're well, staying safe, and of course that you keep listening.